If you have a chance to create your fate, you should not wait. Just step out and write your destiny. Namaskar viewers, welcome to Sunset TV. I am Diksha Kohli and this is a very special edition of Samvad Exclusive. Today we are honored to have a distinguished guest to delve into his life's journey. He is none other than the visionary banker who redefined success, Mr. Uday Kotak. Welcome to Sunset TV, sir.
Delighted to be here and be with Sunset TV.
So to start with the journey of your life, I would take you back in the early 80s, from where you took your first step to professional life. Well, coming from a Gujarati joint family of 60 members, sharing a single kitchen under one roof. It's fascinating how you decided to venture into the financial market, a path which was unrelated to any member of the family because they were into some cotton trading business. What inspired this idea? Can you share the story behind it?
Diksha, what happened was in 1982, I actually completed my MBA. But I actually joined the MBA in 1979, and in 1979 I was hit by a cricket ball. That cricket ball actually put me out of action for 1 year. Normally an MBA which takes 2 years took 3 years for me, and during that 1 year break because of the injury, I actually went into my family's cotton business, including godowns and dealing with real life people. That gave me a sense of entrepreneurship. So after I completed my MBA, I decided to go ahead with starting something which was entrepreneurial rather than joining a company.
Right.
And that started my journey and an entrepreneurial journey from 1982.
Well, apart from cricket, what about sitar? You used to play sitar as well.
Yes, sitar has been very close to my heart. I've been learning since I was a child. But I must say, as I got down the path of working hard and working on my professional pursuits, it did get into a back seat. So I'm very unhappy about having had to leave sitar. But I love Indian classical music.
Absolutely. Often you have used the term capitalism at work and socialism at home. In 1985, it all started from the bill discounting thing, where you were able to convince both sides, the client as well as the bank. Could you elaborate the bill discounting thing for a person like me who does not understand finance, capital and market?
In 1982, when I started my business, banks used to take deposits from savers at 6% per annum. And banks would lend to business and companies at 17% per annum. Further, the banks would restrict the amount of working capital finance which even small and medium companies needed. So because of this large gap, many suppliers to large companies were getting starved of working capital. So I went to a few family friends and others who used to keep money with banks at 6% deposit rate. And then a friend of mine from my MBA had joined a Tata company called Nelco. That is where Mr. Ratan Tata started his career.
Right.
So this friend of mine said his suppliers needed money and they were always tight on working capital. So I said, I will be delighted to provide funding to all your suppliers, and instead of 17% which banks charge, I will do it at 16%. And to the family, friends and others who used to put money in bank deposits at 6%, I said, you will get 12% for a Tata company risk instead of a bank deposit rate of 6%. So essentially, I made it convenient for suppliers to get money at 16% instead of bank rate of 17%. And for depositors in banks, instead of 6%, they got 12% interest rate. It is as simple as that.
That's really nice, sir, to know about this. Your perspective on the role of private sector banks in driving India's economic growth has been widely acknowledged. In what ways do you believe that private banks can further contribute to the nation's development agenda?
So I must say I did not start as a private sector bank. I started as a small bill discounting company, and in 1985, we formed this company, and I requested Anand Mahindra and his family. They came in as shareholders, which is why we called the company Kotak Mahindra Finance. Then we expanded into car financing, into investment banking, into leasing, into asset management and life insurance between 1985 to 2003. In 2003, we decided to get into banking and we became for the first time in Indian history, a non-banking financial company converted itself into a private sector bank and we became a bank in 2003. So it's a phenomenal experience from 1985 when we started our company till 2003 when we actually became a bank. And from 2003 to 2024, it has been an exhilarating journey of growth for Kotak Mahindra Bank in the private sector space. And I can say at the end of the day, whether it's public sector or private sector, our job is to serve customers. And our customers may be savers, investors, depositors, borrowers.
How do you define success in your life?
I think success in life is about purpose. It is about wanting to make a difference. It's about, I have always believed that I wanted to create an institution which should make India proud and make Indian banking come on the global map as something which India stands out. And that dream continues even now.
Uday sir, what motivates you on daily basis?
What motivates me on a daily basis is seeing India develop.
Right.
I remember India was a closed economy when I started my career in 1985. It is great to see India's progress. We are now amongst the top 5 countries in terms of GDP, and I strongly believe the dream of India at 100, led by the Prime Minister and all of us, would like to pursue India at 100 to see a truly successful India with a GDP in excess of $35 trillion and per capita income of every Indian to be in excess of $15,000. I think per capita is as important so that we not only create growth and a larger size economy, but also distribute it well. And the passion of building India and making it amongst the top 2 countries in the world is my dream.
Well, sir, can you talk about a moment of adversity in your life and how you overcame it?
Many adversities. I shared with you the first one. In 1979, I was hit by a cricket ball while playing cricket, and I nearly lost my life at that stage. Fortunately, I had a surgery within a couple of hours of the injury, and I am here alive and kicking. Otherwise, 1979 would have been the end of it. Thereafter, after we started our company, the financial sector saw many ups and downs. A first up and down actually happened in 1992 when there was a security scandal, what was popularly known as the Harshad Mehta scandal. Fortunately, we kept ourselves out of it, but it was a very difficult time. After that, in 1997-98, there was an Asian crisis.
Right.
So a lot of countries in Asia were in trouble, and India had a big crisis as well at that stage between 98 and 2003. Many non-bank finance companies went under. Something like out of 4,000 companies, only 20 survived. We were fortunate to survive through that period where there was very large number of companies who actually went out of business. And therefore, we saved ourselves once again through that Agni Pariksha. Then after in 2008, you are aware there was a global financial crisis. Kotak Mahindra Bank came out of it strong. And then over the years, we were also fortunate to actually acquire a large private sector bank with significant foreign ownership called ING Vysya Bank. So in 2015, we actually acquired ING Vysya Bank and merged it into Kotak Mahindra Bank. So it has been an exhilarating journey. Every journey has its ups and downs, but I'm happy that we are a part of the Indian system, Indian financial system, and we are making a difference to people's lives.
As you just mentioned Agni Pariksha, you've never said it a turning point. You've always been calling it a Agni Pariksha. So which was the toughest Agni Pariksha of your life?
I think the toughest Agni Pariksha of our life was the period between 1998 to 2003, when you saw many companies fall by the wayside.
Right.
And it was very important to keep calm, make sure that as a bank, we are protecting depositors' monies, or as a finance company, we are protecting depositors' money, investors' money, taking care of them, not making bad loans, and acting prudently. In 2008 9, I remember in January 2009, I was at the World Economic Forum at Davos. And I was on stage, and Mr. Fareed Zakaria, in an interview, asked me, what do you think banking of the future should be looking like? I said, the banker of the future must have three human qualities. First is simplicity. Therefore, no complex products. Make your products simple, which a common person can understand. Second is prudence. You are dealing with other people's money. Therefore, do it prudently. And third, which is the most important, is humility. Bankers are not masters of the universe.
Right.
Bankers should never have arrogance. They are serving customers and dealing with customers' issues all the time. Therefore, simplicity, prudence, and humility are three qualities which every person in banking and finance must always have.
Well, drawing from your words, if you don't understand something, don't lend. Could you elaborate on how the IL&FS crisis personally and professionally affected you?
See, if you go through the history of finance worldwide,
right,
most of the time, banks or financial institutions go bust because they have done bad lending. And therefore, the bank is handling depositors' money, a financial institution is also handling depositors and investors' money. You have to take more care of it, of that money, or at least as much care as you take care of your own money. Very often, one forgets that as you go forward. So the IL&FS crisis happened in September 2018. I recollect I got a call from the government to take responsibility as the chairman of that institution which had gone into trouble. And I took it up as national duty. In many ways, IL&FS was India's Lehman Brothers moment. And IL&FS had festering problems for some of their businesses, practices, and bad lending stretching over 20 years. So we came in after problems had become big, and it was our job to resurrect IL&FS, save all the assets which were there in IL&FS, and work towards recovery of those assets for people's monies. Therefore, protect the assets which were national assets, at the same time protect people's monies. And it was a very, very important job for the nation, and I was truly honored and humbled to be given this national duty.
Well, how do you stay resilient in the face of challenges or setbacks?
I think keep calm. I am a believer that when things are good, don't get too exuberant. And when things are bad, don't get too despondent. So that is one important principle in life. The second one is always think about what can go right and wrong. Most of the time, people are only looking at the optimistic side, which is a good thing. But at the same time, always keep in mind to ask the question, what if? What if things did not go as planned? What would happen? Therefore, resiliency comes from good risk management and sustained governance over a long period of time. At the same time, I am a believer that the success of enterprise comes from entrepreneurship. Therefore, we should not give up entrepreneurship. We must take risks, but also be clear about measuring what those risks are and what can go wrong.
Now, focusing some international engagements of yours. You serve on several international advisory panels and boards. How do these global engagements contribute to your perspective on economic and financial matters?
So it goes back to early 1990s when India was a relatively closed economy. And as I was building the finance business, I felt we needed to know how the rest of the world worked. Therefore, the first thing we did is get into a partnership with one of the largest financial services firms in the world from US called Goldman Sachs. They became our partners in our securities and investment banking business. I defined the Indian capital markets at that stage were a little bit like a small well. From that, how do you create an ocean of capital markets, which we are seeing now? There was the Goldman Sachs joint venture, which remained between 1995 and 2005, taught Kotak, and I think made a big contribution to the development of the capital markets in India. Around the same time, we also partnered with Ford Credit for the car financing business. Kotak pioneered car financing business in India. Till 1989-90, people were not getting financing against cars. Thereafter, a few years later, we got into a partnership with Ford. We learned about technology, about how small loans or for car financing to customers can become a big business. So partnership with Goldman Sachs, partnership with Ford helped us really understand how the world worked. And over time, as I built relationships, when global firms were looking at some sort of an advisor, whether it's government of Singapore or the Monetary Authority of Singapore or some large global funds, they wanted some sort of an advisory arrangement. I was very happy to provide them advice as they build their businesses in India and around the world.
Right. Also, as the co-chairman of the Indo-UK Financial Partnership, what are the key objectives and achievements of this partnership, and how does it benefit both India and the UK?
So, Indo-UK Financial Partnership started under the auspices of Mr. Arun Jaitley when he was the Finance Minister of India. He believed that India and UK had a lot of things to share. So, the UK Chancellor of the Exchequer and Mr. Jaitley decided to set up a group which was the India-UK Financial Partnership. So the chair from India was myself, and the chair from the UK was a gentleman called Mr. Jerry Grimston, Lord Jerry Grimston, who thereafter was in the British government as well and was Margaret Thatcher's key person for privatization of British companies in the 80s and 90s. So with that, the purpose was to build collaboration and create working papers which could help policy making on both sides. So a number of working papers were put forward to Government of India, which included climate financing, development of GIFT City, development of the corporate bond market, and all those papers have, some of them have found their way into policy making in India.
Well, talking about your journey, it's a long journey full of achievements. What do you consider to be the most significant milestone or achievement in your career so far, and why?
I think, a journey is a journey. I love the pleasure of a journey. I don't look at achievements as big highlights. I think about being in a train which has no destination. You just enjoy the journey, enjoy the purpose of you build, what you're doing, enjoy the fact that we are able to build an Indian financial institution which can compete with the best in the world. The biggest pleasure for me is to see the development of India's financial sector, whether it is banking, whether it is capital markets. For example, on the capital markets, India is now amongst the largest capital market players in the world, probably after United States and maybe one or two other countries. I would like to see the flowering of India as a leader in financial services globally. I also would like to see in the future the Indian rupee become a global currency used by every Indian in any part of the world. And there will come a time, I have no doubt in the future, when Indian rupee can get to becoming a global reserve currency in the next 10 to 20 years if we do the right things from now.
Uday sir, as a chairperson, what is your vision for IIM Bodh Gaya? And how do you plan to differentiate it from other premier management institutions in India?
IIM Bodh Gaya, I got associated a few years ago. And at that stage, it was given a small space as a part of the Magad University in Gaya. It was a very difficult terrain, as you know, challenges of building a institution in the state of Bihar. We took up the challenge both as a board and the director of IIM Bodh Gaya, Dr. Sahai. And with great support from the government, we have moved forward. We have now completed the campus. We just had the first convocation in the new campus. We were truly honored that the Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Dhankarji, along with Dr. Mrs. Dhankar and Mr. Amitabh Khan, came to the convocation function in Bodh Gaya. And to see the development of world-class institutions deep into Bihar is a matter of great joy and satisfaction as we go down the path of institution building in education. IIM Bodh Gaya was inaugurated by the Prime Minister about a month ago as well. And we believe that education and higher education and management institution building is a part of building of India for the future. I'm truly, truly delighted that IIM Bodh Gaya also had a 100% placement ratio this year. So we have got a world-class campus, which is outstanding, and we're now getting a 100% placement ratio for an institution which has come up in a very difficult terrain in Bihar.
Sir, how do the prestigious awards like the Global Leadership Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, Entrepreneur of the Year Award, CEO of the Year Award, and various awards shape your perspective on life, and what significance do they hold in your personal journey?
You know, I believe awards are a recognition, yes, but what matters most for every human being is a mirror. The mirror tells the truth about yourself. Therefore, awards are good to get external recognition, but never forget seeing yourself in the mirror, because the mirror tells the truth always.
Now focusing technology. How do you envision the role of technology and innovation shaping the future of banking and finance, both in India and globally?
I think the world has changed. Today, each of us as consumers are used to an experience which is an Apple or a Google or an Amazon. Therefore, the expectations of the consumer have moved much faster than the speed at which technology has developed in banking and financial services. Therefore, there is a catch-up game going on where banks are catching up to get to world-class technology. At the same time, I must credit India for building a world-class India stack. The UPI payment system, the Aadhaar process has really leapfrogged India ahead of many other countries. Therefore, I have great confidence that the future of banking and financial services is going to be significantly more digital, even from here. Another major change, as we are aware, is coming through artificial intelligence. Therefore, we will all have to redefine how we see the future through the lens of artificial intelligence, which will be a good thing at one level, but also very challenging for human beings to keep ahead, where the machine will become a competitor against human beings. So interesting times ahead, but I think a very big opportunity. India has leapfrogged in the mobile revolution. India must leapfrog in the AI revolution going forward.
Sir, while you're often interviewed on serious topics like finance, economy, and banking, today we'll delve into some of the more delightful aspects of your life's journey. If you could go back in time and give your younger oneself a piece of advice, what would it be?
I think I would, when I was younger, many of my friends believed that there was not enough opportunity in India. And most of them would be looking for moving overseas and away from India. My advice to every young Indian is India is happening. Think about building a life and a career in India. The opportunity of India today is very different from what it was 30 or 40 years ago. It's a different India, and let's make India amongst the greatest nations on earth. We are a young country. It is our opportunity to build India.
Well, the program is Samvad exclusive. So, to get some exclusive points from your side, can you share a funny or embarrassing moment from your life that you've never told anyone before?
There are each of us has many funny and embarrassing moments in life as we go down the journey. I can think about as a kid, I was an extremely mischievous kid. So for all the seriousness which came in my life later, I was an extremely mischievous kid.
Really?
And really loved it. Would always be throwing tantrums, always being unreasonable within the family. And for me, the most happy moments are as a child. I grew up with my grandparents. I would be in their room. They would take care of me, though my parents were very much there. And I cherish those moments with my grandparents more than ever. I miss them even today. And they were and will always be very special for me.
Absolutely.
The pleasure of grandparents is awesome.
Very true. As you said, you were very much mischievous. So, what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done in your life?
I broke my head while playing cricket. And,
Oh my God.
Nearly died. So that was, and I used to be very, 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 very fond of sports and cricket in particular. And actually would spend far more time. If I had not been hit by a cricket ball, cricket as a career was a serious option for me. And I must share one other very interesting tidbit. In cricket, while I was playing in school, my coach was a gentleman called Ramakant Achrekar. Many years later, he was the coach of Sachin Tendulkar.
Wow, great. That's
So my
great.
claim to fame is, Sachin's coach and my coach were the same
same.
person, though with a gap of 10 to 15 years. Or 20 years maybe.
That's really great. If you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and what would you do?
Each of us is destined in our journey, and I would rather not switch it with anyone, but look at how I can continue to be more purposeful to make a difference.
Sir, if you were to write a book about your life, what would the title be?
The joy of making India proud.
If you get a power to instantly learn any skill now, what would that skill be?
I would love to be really an outstanding technology expert.
What's something surprising that people might not know about you despite your public persona?
I would say that I don't chase a persona, I just follow what I think is right. And if people know about me, it's great. If they don't, that's also okay. I don't chase fame, I chase what I think is right for me to do.
Well, now coming to future outlook and vision of India and quoting a line from your 2023 year-end musing, India is transforming from a nation of savers to investors. Focusing Bharat at 2047 vision, where do you see India and the global economy in the coming future?
I think India has a chance to be amongst the top 2 economies in the world. That is one. 2,
Right.
I believe India can be the reserve currency of the world, just like the US dollar is now, and the British pound was about 100 years ago. And if we can get there, the Indian rupee will be the greatest proof of India's success worldwide. That is, I think, the second. Third, I would love to see India achieve this without giving its cultural and without giving up its cultural and spiritual base. We must continue to be true Indians and at the same time be a hugely successful and a happy country as well. I would like to see every Indian getting much better quality of life. I would love to see India from an environment point of view, from a climate point of view, being out in the forefront. I would like to see no city or town in India being polluted. These are some of the challenges which we must take head on in the years ahead.
Absolutely, sir. Now, coming to my last question, what legacy do you hope to leave behind in both your professional and personal spheres?
I believe legacy is decided by posterity. All that I can say is I would like to see India and the institution Kotak be a very, very important part of planet Earth.
Absolutely. With your lines, as you say, in a marathon, if you run too fast, you get exhausted. If you run too slow, you never make it. So we should keep moving, keeping the pace and reach the goals. As we wrap up here, a big thank you to you, sir, for sharing your insights and precious time with us. Your perspective has been invaluable. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much and truly honored. Thank you.